بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم سهلا وجعلته سهلا فجعل الحزن والصعب بما شئت سهلا. So yesterday we talked about Surat al-Qasas, the stories, and then eventually we explored a theme through stories that Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to be aware and mindful about, which is نريد أن نمن على الذين استضعفوا في الأرض ونجعلهم أئمة ونجعلهم الوارثين ونري فرعون وهامان وجنودهما منهم ما كانوا يحذرون. Basically, Allah Azza wa wants to show that the weak in the earth and the land, those who are believers connected with Allah Azza wa Jal, are going to have the upper hand regardless if the other side has the power which is seen by the eyes as having the power. And now here comes the following chapter, which is called Ankabout. Ankabout is translated to spider. What's the connection? We'll come to see the connection between what's the theme of this chapter and the connection with the previous theme, which is the chapter which is Al-Qasas. This chapter starts by talking about an important concept. Yes, Allah Azza wa Jalla in the previous chapter explained for us the Sunnah al-Mudafi'ah. There's going to be always struggle between the truth and the false, the haqq and the batil. This is how Allah established life on earth. Mudafi'ah. There is always وَلَوْ نَدَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُم بِبَعْضٍ. Now here comes the chapter that affirm an important concept to us, which is sabr al-ibtila, to be patient on the calamities and the challenges that you're going through in your life. And Allah Azza wa Jalla starts this chapter by saying, Alif Lam Mim أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فليعلمن الله الذين صدقوا وليعلمن الكاذبين. Translation: Do people think that they would be claiming to be believers and they would not be tested? Now, if you go to any professional, you will see them hanging a certificate on the wall, right? They don't do it only to show off, but they do it to show you that they have passed the tests and they're qualified. So that the DR or the whatever title they are carrying for their profession does not come haphazardly. It comes after so many years of work and credentials. So the same is to be said when you call yourself as a mu'min, then you need to be tested. So Allah Azza wa Jalla يَعْلَمَنَّ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Allah Azza wa Jalla have trialed those who came from before you. فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا, and Allah will know those who are honest, truthful, and those who are not truthful, basically, not liars only, but not truthful. أَمْ حَسِبَ الَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ أَن يَسْبِقُونَ سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Do those who do bad يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ أَن يَسْبِقُونَ, meaning to say have the upper hand, in race, those who are the win, they're proceeders, right? So they have the upper hand. No, in this dunya you will see Allah Azza wa Jal will make us, this is the part of the struggle. How many of you have made it to the Hollywood compound in California, LA? I happened to visit that compound, and I get to understand the foolish power of the superpower. It's all illusion. Seriously, it's all illusion. And this is the power of jinn, by the way. Jinn are using illusions, sihr and imagination and illusions, and they use the psychology to endorse certain perceptions. And eventually it all will disappear. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ أَمْ حَسِبَ الَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ أَن يَسْبِقُونَ سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. No, that's not true. Yes, indeed, we will trial you and we'll test you and give you the upper hand, but eventually you will not succeed. It's impossible, because the haqq always succeed. مَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ أَجَلَ اللَّهِ لَآتٍ. Whoever wishes to meet Allah, then the meeting with Allah is coming. Indeed, it's not something a choice. All of us will be living this dunya and we will be meeting Allah Azza wa Jalla, whether in happy terms or in bad terms. فَإِنَّ أَجَلَ اللَّهِ لَآتٍ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Sami' Alim hears and is aware, and we'll see how that fits within the context of the testing in life. وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ, and whoever struggles. Again, we said that mujahada or jihad comes from mujahada. Mujahada means struggling, and this is where come jihad, struggling, exerting the maximum efforts to defend the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. It also could apply in the context of mujahadat al-nafs, struggling against your own nafs and your own desires and whims. And this is Allah Azza wa Jal saying that man jahada, whoever struggles, فَإِنَّمَا يُجَاهِدُ نَفْسِهِ, you do it only for your sake. Allah Azza wa Jal is not going to benefit from your struggle, nor from the efforts you are spending, nor from the time, nor from the pain. It is gonna go and becomes memory, but what stays is the reward from Allah Azza wa Jal. And subhanallah, wallahi, I have seen it. Yani may Allah Azza wa Jal, we don't ask Allah for ibtila'at, but like when we see the ibtila, we seek Allah Azza wa Jal's help. When people go through difficulties, my brothers and sisters, it is so severe, it is so heavy. And it is just like what the Prophet ﷺ said to one of the Bedouins when he visited them. كيف أجدك? He said, "Oh, Ya Rasulullah, I'm in so much pain, fever," and he did not, he complained too much. And the Prophet ﷺ was trying to remind him, ask Allah for the afu, ask Allah for the rahmah. He said, "Anta wa sha'nuk." You what you have asked for, and he died shortly after the Prophet ﷺ left, because he left himself to the sickness. He did not ask for the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ taught us in difficulties to pray to Allah Azza wa Jal, Allahumma atini fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qini adhab an-nar. Give me the best of the dunya and the akhirah, and save me from the torment of the hellfire. ومن جاهد فإنه لجاهد لنفسه وإن الله لغني عن العالمين. Allah is not in need for us. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لنكفر عنهم سيئاتهم ولنجزينهم أحسن الذي كانوا يعملون. والذين آمنوا, those who believe and they did righteous, لنكفرن عنهم سيئاتهم, we will cleanse them and forgive their sins. ولنجزينهم أحسن الذي كانوا يعملون. Allah Azza wa Jalla will be looking at your scale of deeds and will be rewarding you according to the highest scale, or the highest rewards that you have in your scale of deeds, as from His generosity and rahmah and karam. And here comes a beautiful term. ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حسنا وإن جاهداك لتشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. Now Allah is just saying ووصينا الإنسان, we ordain to human to be kind to their parents. وإن جاهداك, not they persuade you, but they جاهداك, they force you strongly. لتشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم, to associate with me someone that beside Allah Azza wa Jalla. فلا تطعهما إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. And eventually you will come to me, and Allah Azza wa Jalla will inform you of what you used to do in this dunya. And in the context of surat Luqman, Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying to us that وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما صاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا. This is the same almost ayat came in Surah Luqman, but with different contexts. The context of this ayah here came in one of the Sahaba whose mother was not like the Sahabi who in the Surah Luqman was preventing herself from eating and drinking. If you do not change your deen and come back to worshiping the statues, I will not eat until I die. She was appealing to him. Here in this context, the mother was along with his own siblings, they were persecuting him. They chained him and they tortured him so he can live his deen. So the two stories are connected, but they're in two different contexts, but they are delivering the same concept, which is stick with your values and with your beliefs. طيب. Now وإن جاهداك لتشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما إلي مرجعكم. See, إلي مرجعكم. Even if you were to kill, because you are, believing, and you're being asked to leave your deen, and you happen to be tortured, and you did, and you died. What's the big deal? You're gonna die either way. فإلي مرجعكم. You will be coming to me. فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. And I will be, aware of what you have done in this dunya. Like it to the person who dies because of his faith. So Allah is saying to you that life is life and death is death. Regardless of the circumstances and the way you die, eventually you're gonna leave this dunya, so it doesn't matter. So leave it with integrity. Some scholars say that we do not have a choice on when we die, but we might have a choice on how we die. That's why one of the most beautiful is dua to say, Allahumma nas'aluka tawbatan qabla al-maut wa shahadatan 'inda al-maut. This is the most honorable way to die. The Prophet ﷺ himself wished it for himself, to die and to fight in the cause of Allah and to die and to be resurrected and to do it once again and over and again, because of the karamat that Shaheed will be seeing from Allah as a result of being struggling for the path of Allah Azza wa Jalla. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات ندخلنهم في الصالحين. And those who believed in Allah Azza and did righteous, Allah Azza will put them in the category of صالحين. طيب. Now here Allah Azza is talking about jihad, He's talking about, struggle, and He's talking about, being honest, and He's talking about, not to be from the, the kadibin. طيب, what's that have to do with, the story of, parents and children? Isn't that a little, it might sound like, there's something that's not, appropriate in the sequence of the, it's not. One of the most honorable ibadat, one of the most highly rewarded ibadat is بر الوالدين. بر الوالدين وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا. This comes immediately after Tawheed. طيب. If it comes after Tawheed, that means it is a highly rewarded ibadah. And we know that the peak of Islam is jihad. Why? Because it's struggle. It's exerting the maximum efforts. The same is to be said about Birrul Walidain, my brothers and sisters. Lucky to the person whom Allah the Mighty will honor him or her to be there for his parents at an old age. Wallahi, it's an honor that not everyone is able to get it. I have seen it in my professional life. There are many families. You will see that elders would have children and grandchildren and great grandchildren. They would have an army of grandchildren or progeny. You will find that only one person who is qualified to get that honor. And you will find that this person who is qualified for that honor is facing tremendous challenge. They are doing jihad for real. So do not deprive yourself from being honored to look after your parents. إما يبلغن أحدك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما. إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما. Allah is saying to you, بر الوالدين is a huge struggle. بر الوالدين is a highly rewarded act. بر الوالدين is one of the avenues of Al-Jannah. May Allah Azza wa Jalla the Mighty make us abareen to our own parents in their life and after they die. How? By doing istighfar and dua to them and sadaqah on their behalf and qira'at al-Quran on behalf and all the good deeds you can think of on their behalf. And may Allah Azza wa Jalla the Mighty from His rahmah make our own children barreen to us as a result of our own birth to own parents. Allahumma ameen. Wa sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.